So fun. Great morning, everybody. Welcome back to Chai Together. I am your host and founder, Pratik Bidet. You are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today. And it's Monday, and I feel really great today, and I hope you all do as well. I am here with Miss Linda Nefertiti. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. How are you feeling?
I'm doing great, doing great.
Full of
How about
life.
you? Here, ready to go. It's not about me, it's about who I'm speaking to.
That's right. Let me tell the people about you. So, Miss Linda Nefertiti is an author, mentor, motivational speaker, and entrepreneur. She's a senior new business analyst at a financial planning firm and has worked in the financial and insurance industry for more than 35 years. She has been in and out of the network marketing industry for more than 20 years. And she's the founder of the Queendom Journey, a community built for the empowerment of women. And she loves to make others laugh and has a heart for others. She's a mother, a grandmother, and a great grandmother. And you can follow her journey on Instagram at iNef Patton, at Twitter. Is that, oh, sorry, L Nef Patton, Twitter, L Patton11, Clubhouse, Linda Nefertiti, and YouTube, Linda Patton. Is that correct?
Okay, now there's been a lot of changes since
Yeah.
then. I no longer work for anyone else. I just
Ooh.
do the Queendom Journey and my network
Wow.
marketing business.
Congrats.
I you can reach me on Instagram
Mm.
and Facebook at thequeendomjourney.com. I mean,
I will update that.
at the Queendom Journey on Instagram and Facebook, and on Twitter at Queendom Journey.
Ooh, everything is Queendom Journey.
Yes, they can also reach me at my personal web pages as well.
Wow. When did you go as a full-time entrepreneur? When did you start this?
March this year.
Wow. Wow. I love it. How do you feel? No regrets?
Free.
Free. Whoa. So
Totally free, because one of the things I have talked about doing for a couple of years, I had planned to retire several years.
Yeah.
Actually, I could have retired like 10 years ago, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And when I decided to become a speaker, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to speak and use my life's journey to speak into the lives of others who may have gone through some experiences that have held them back like mine did me.
Wow. And we're going to dig into that. But one question I have for you is, did you enjoy your career? Do you think there's something wrong with a job, like having a job,
Not at all. I enjoyed my career because it was in service.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my father was in the hospital that we had a long conversation, and I realized that that's what he did with his life. He was always in service. He served in the Army. He was a paratrooper.
Wow.
I believe from 46 to 54. And he served in the 82nd Airborne Division, and he was proud of that. And he went through some of the same hell in the Army that I went through in life. And so we just sat down and talked about it. And when he left the Army, he opened up a barbershop, and he served the community by hiring people in the community. And in that day and time, it was unheard of for a man of color to have their own business. So he came home and he served the community.
Wow.
And then he later on did prison ministry and rehab. And so I realized I did the service thing because that's what he did. And he taught me entrepreneurship.
Wow. That's a big deal. What year was that?
We first got into network marketing is when he showed me entrepreneurship, me and my late husband, in the late 70s, early 80s.
Wow.
We got in network marketing with him.
Wow.
And he had been showing me business all my life, but I wasn't really catching on to it until he showed us network marketing.
And that was your dad that was showing you, right?
Yes. He was in network marketing, came and helped me and my husband get involved.
Wow. And that
Yes.
benefited your family?
It did. It did. It changed our life because network marketing, people have a negative connotation of network marketing.
Yeah.
But network marketing is so much more than people think, because we call it a business with a compensation plan on top of it, a personal self-development business with the compensation, because it helps you get your personal life together. Self-help, it teach you positive affirmations and to be around positive people, and you change your whole mindset.
Wow.
When you become a part of the right network marketing business, which I feel I'm in the best one now.
Yeah.
And it is just made a total difference in my life. And I've been doing it since, like I said, for more than 20 years on and off.
I have to say, can we share the name of the company?
I'm fine with it.
Oh, yeah. iBoomerang.
iBoomerang, yes.
Yeah, so I'm not in it, but I love it. As in, I heard Holton Buggs on Michael Jackson's podcast, I believe, and Michael Jackson, who was in Role Enters before. And when I heard Holton Buggs saying that, overtime is for broke people, and like he was saying some statements, I was like, this is powerful. It aligns with the mindset, like-minded people that we are. And I was like, I'm on the right path because I'm listening to this man. And I heard his story, his come up. It was a struggle, over the years. And then to see where he is now, and as a colored man, I have to say that's like really respectable, because I don't know so many of them, So I just think you are in a fantastic company, and a lot of people I know are in iBoomerang, and I think it's just awesome because it's very diverse, and it's someone who is, I apologize if it's colored. I meant, African American.
It's okay. I know what you mean.
Because I realized, wait, that's
a person of color
from back in the day. Yeah, I'm a
person of color.
Yeah, but it's like you have to be mindful of, okay, like how can that be perceived, to you?
Right, right.
Yeah, I apologize.
Well, I've known Mr. and Mrs. Buggs and Mr. and Mrs. Haynes. Mr. Haynes is my coach, and Mrs. Haynes have mentored me. I've known them for 10 years. We were in another company, and I came over with them. And the four of them have made a marked difference in my life. And Mr. and Mrs. Haynes probably even more so than anybody else. And I'm so thankful that they have stuck with me and allowed me to stick with them, because I know I'd probably be like, that girl is a pill. She's a handful. We're going to put her over there. But the thing with them is they know when to put their hands on me, and they know when to take them off.
I like that.
And they've poured so many things into my life, and I've watched them grow and excel, and I've, mocked and mimicked them. So it's a great company. It has great leadership, and I'm just blessed and grateful to be a part of it.
Yay. I haven't heard anything otherwise yet. But I want to ask you now. So, you shared a little bit about your childhood, your dad, instilling the entrepreneurial spirit in you. But, will you share with us your journey, starting from childhood, like some of the challenges you may have had and things you went through,
Okay. And let me just preface that. At one time in my life, when I shared those things, it was from a position of weakness. It was from a position of being a victim. It's no longer the case. I now share this as a conqueror, an overcomer, a victor, and someone that can help other people that may have gone through the same things that I have gone through. Because what I realized that those things, those experiences helped lead to my purpose. And I didn't even realize that they were preparing me for my purpose at the time. Now, I'm from a family of 9 children, 8 girls and 1 boy.
Oh, man.
And we all have the same mother and father. Yes, and that's unusual, I know. But when I was a young girl in elementary school, well, my mother used to call me baby doll. Let me just say that. My mother used to call me baby doll. They said people used to stop her on the street and said, I look like a baby doll. Don't have any pictures, never seen any, so I don't know. But as a young girl in elementary school, I had one of my elementary school male teachers, Caucasian male, molest me. And what I found out is that he had done it to several girls. And what he said to me was, if you tell anyone, I will deny that I touched a little N-word girl, and you'll become the troublemaker. Now, I experienced the molestation, but I also experienced the racism at the same time at a young age. I think I was in the third or the fourth grade. And I was a kind of child that I talked. And you had to prove something to me. So I went and told my mother. And my mother came back to the school. And they went back and forth and back and forth. And she ended up calling me a troublemaker, just like them. So now that caused devastation in my mind, because I didn't understand as a little girl, why would my mother call me the troublemaker? But now at this age, I understand at that time in our lives, people of color, Black people, were powerless. And I don't know what they said to her, but she had to think about her entire family and not just me. So she had to make a decision what she was going to do, because it could have came out a lot worse. She could have told my father could have went up there, and all kinds of things would have happened. So for years, my mother and I did not get along because of that situation. And every time we talked about that or almost anything, we had a problem. But all throughout my school life, I was abused. I was raped. And when I graduated, I was pregnant by a boyfriend. And we had broke up because I wanted better. I wanted to leave Detroit and do better for myself, because Detroit had gotten really bad and he didn't want that. And so he said, if I can't have you and my child, no one else can have you. So one day I was walking down the street and he walked up behind me, grabbed me, drugged me into his a friend's house, his now brother-in-law, drugged me into their house and beat me, kicked me, threw me in the tub, and choked me within an inch of my life. But I was praying the whole time he was doing it, and just asking God to allow my child to be okay, even if my life was taken. And he stopped right before I stopped breathing. He went in one direction and I went in the other. And I didn't know at the time, but his friends and his older brother were in there. They were all getting high. And he stopped beating me because he said I had blown his high. So he was going to get high again and come back and kill me. But when he told me he was going to kill me, I knew I had a choice: either stay there and die or run. And if he was going to kill me, he was going to have to catch me. So his brother ended up finding me because I had fainted. And he found me and put me in a cab to where my two sisters were, and they took me to the hospital. I ended up with a sling on my arm because I had torn ligaments, and I had to wear that for 3 weeks. But me and the baby both came out fine. And he's grown and have children and grandchildren of his own now.
Wow.
Yes. Now, the other thing is, even after I survived that, I felt less than, because I was always, somebody was always doing something to me, that I ended up trying to commit suicide myself. And I realize now that I went through those things because there's other people that may have gone through something similar and feel like they're not good enough. And I can let them know God is no respecter of person. If I could be doing this and using my voice to speak into the life of others, so can you, because he prepared me to be able to do these things today.
Wow.
I co-authored another book with in 2017, and I sent the two books that I did. I did one with Les Brown and Johnny Wembry in 2020, and I sent those books to an ex-coworker of mine, Be, and we became close because we talked about some things that she was going through. I've always been an encourager. I've always been a nurturer. The one person I had to learn how to encourage was myself. And so I sent those to her, and it was a few weeks before she got back with me. When she got back with me, she said she had gone out of the country because her 22-year-old niece had committed suicide. And she said, what I know is if she had had a Linda in her life, I believe she might still be here today.
Wow.
Now, I don't know that is necessarily so, but that convicted me because I didn't think I really had anything to share with anybody. And after that, I realized if I can tell my story and it makes a difference in one person's life and they could see the things that I've overcome, they could do this too. They could either, even if they didn't do this, they may want to live a little bit longer, and that would be victorious.
It's so powerful. The first thing that comes to mind is, do you feel that because of that teacher molesting you led you to, change your character and who you were, as in the low self-esteem, etc., that led you to be abused from then on,
Well, I think because of what he did and the other abuse and things, I had low self-esteem. But what happened to change me was after I went through the near murder.
Yeah.
I went to a church called the Shrine of the Black Madonna. My two older sisters, there's two older sisters than me, and I'm third, and then the rest of the sisters and brother come. But they had joined the church, and they invited me to go with them. And I went with them, and then in the 70s, they had an African naming ceremony. And there's a gentleman that came from Africa, and he actually gave me the name Nefertiti. I had no idea what it meant, but he told me Nefertiti was the queen of Egypt. So just to feel, he gave me the name of a queen. Now, I felt like I was not worth anything because of all the things I had been through. But you think I'm a queen? Oh, my whole attitude changed. I acted like a queen. I felt like a queen. So much so till I attracted my husband. And we were together for 35 years.
Wow.
And he died in 2010, the day before my birthday. But we were together for 35 years. So I had a whole different attitude. My self-esteem went through the roof just to think somebody named me a queen. So that's why I use that name today. It stuck with me. But my husband died the day before my birthday in 2010. And my life spiraled upside down because I never really dealt with all of the abuses and adversities that had happened because I built my world around my husband. We built our world around each other and left all that stuff behind. So I thought. And I was just telling somebody this past weekend, what reminded me of the things that I went through was in Houston, there was a young lady who had broken up with her boyfriend and was getting ready to move on with her life. And he begged her to come back. He had changed. He apologized for everything that he had went through. And she decided to go and give him another chance. She went to his apartment. He killed her, cut her up, and barbecued her. And when I saw that, it just, something snapped. Because I said, I never went through domestic violence, and it's like, oh my God, what your boyfriend did to you was domestic violence. You had all the other abuses, but what he did to you was domestic violence. And I snapped, and I had to go back and remember who I was before I met my husband, who I was while we were together, and then who am I supposed to become?
Wow.
And that's when my journey really began. Now, my Queendom journey has been all my life, but that's when I recognized that I was on a journey. And I know other women may be on their journey as well. I gave my book, my first book, to two young ladies at a bank. And they read my book. First of all, they told me I didn't look old enough to be a grandmother, let alone a great grandmother. And so when they read my story, they said, Miss Nefertiti, Miss Linda, you don't look like what you've been through. And that's God's grace and mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it. I wear a mask. My makeup is my mask.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look my age. I don't look like what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered how many other women out there were going through the same thing as me. And that's when I decided to start working with women. And that's when I came up with the name, the Queendom Journey. But I didn't start doing it full force right away. I was awakened one morning at 3 a.m. when my vision board fell off the wall. And on the vision board, it said, it's been 10 years and 100 women making a beautiful difference in thousands of lives. And it had been 10 years since my husband died. And my father had just died. So I knew that was God telling me it was time.
Wow.
And that's where it all began.
I have chills. It's so emotional. They could make a movie on you.
You know, we all have a story.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a story. And most of the time we don't tell our story because we're ashamed. We're ashamed of letting people know what happened, and we don't want to be vulnerable. But when we realize so many people can benefit from what we've gone through.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Regarding the gentleman who, physically abused you while you were pregnant. Did you ever think to press charges, or did you just want to move on?
I just wanted to move on.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing that I was actually blamed for that. I wasn't blamed for him trying to kill me, but I was blamed for being in that situation. So all I wanted to do was move on. And all I could think of was, thank you, Jesus, for allowing me and my son to survive.
Wow.
I've been through so many things. And I just asked God to use me. And it's so funny that when you ask God to use you, you think, oh, it's going to be a bed of roses. But all I got was more thorns. But it's because I didn't realize that God let me know, I'll be with you in the valleys. If you're willing to climb the mountains, have faith and climb the mountains. I just went ziplining this past week.
Oh my God.
I was petrified.
Yeah.
That was one of my fears. But I knew I had to conquer that fear, because either I was going to be fearful or I was going to be faithful.
Wow.
And I stopped halfway. I was going to stop halfway, but I kept getting encouraged by the women that was with me. I saw a question. I'll answer a question in just a minute. Yeah. I kept getting encouraged by the women that was with me, and I kept going. I kept going because I knew there was something I had to overcome, and have faith while I was in the mountain, that if I had faith in the valleys, he would see me through the mountains. And then if I went back to the valleys, he would take care of me in that mountain, but he'd take care of me in the valley as well. Wow. We were 600 feet up in the air.
What location was this?
We were in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, at Los Veranos, and they had 14 zip lines. So once you get up there, the only way you can come back down is on the zip line. And the longest zip line was 1,700 feet. And I just held on and thanked God the whole way. And I even looked down at the water below me and all of his greatness and goodness around me. It was exhilarating.
So skydiving is next.
Yes.
I enjoy all these activities. I love it all. I love it all.
I want to say one of my quotes is live your best life. No one live your life, live your best life. No one can live your life better than you. And when the story of your life is written, make sure you're holding the pen. Put that pen in your hand and hold it, write that story. Say, love yourself, hug yourself, and give from your overflow.
Wow.
And I'm overflowing now because God has seen fit to allow me to make it through all of those things to where I'm a great grandmother today.
Wow. Yeah, so I have some questions. So Miss Carolyn wanted to know, who were you blamed by regarding being in that situation?
I was actually blamed by my mother.
Again.
But I understand my mother and I had a kind of love-hate relationship. And I say hate, we didn't hate each other. But because of that one situation that we never dealt with, I was a troublemaker. And to be perfectly honest, we did not totally resolve that situation until 2020.
Wow.
I heard Will Smith and Janet Hubert talk about their 30-year feud about when she had a problem with Will Smith on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And that was so amazing. Will Smith sat back and he listened to what she had to say. And I realized at the point, not only did I suffer, my mother suffered, and we both lost our voice. I picked up the phone and called her, and we actually talked about the entire situation. We both found our voice. I became a speaker. She found her voice. We cried. We told each other we love you. And it had been 50 years since she said, I love you, baby doll. Wow. She called me baby doll again and has been calling me that ever since.
Wow.
And I've forgiven everybody that I felt wronged me and asked them for forgiveness too. Some people cursed me out, but I did what I needed to do. And I had to do that to get to this point where I am now.
Wow. Yeah, because they're not in a loving space like how you are, but you just want to give love, whether they reciprocate it or not, because that's not on you, that's on them. But at least they can see that you can be that loving still, even after what they may have done to you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you have more questions?
Well, I have questions myself.
Okay. Can I give them a couple things I'd like for them to write down?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the first thing is reignite your life. Reignite your life. Let go of those things that are holding you back. Vulnerability is so freeing. Being transparent is so freeing. Miss Earlene Buggs and Miss Andrea Haynes, they taught me that. It's so freeing. And Miss Buggs says, put your crown on, whether you're a king or a queen, and never let anyone take it off, not even yourself. And I remembered that. So reignite your life. Reclaim your power. And it's not reinvent, but I'm going to say reinvent your mindset. Recondition your mindset. Recondition your mindset. And when you do those 3 R's, reignite your life, recondition your mindset, you can reclaim your power. And then you can be vulnerable. And see, if you tell your own story, nobody can tell your story and shame you. What you gonna say? Right. Yep, I did that. Yes, it's me. You already know.
That's what Eminem did.
Yes. And I love that. You better lose yourself in the music the moment. You better never let it go. You only got one chance. You only got one chance. Okay. You have some questions.
No, it is. We do have just this one life that we know of, and
Right.
after we're gone, that's it. Like you only
That's
have one
it.
life, one body, one life. That's it. And I feel
Right.
like a lot of people, as Sadhguru says, if you know of Sadhguru, and he says, a lot of people feel like they'll never die, that they're immortal. They see other people die, but they forget that you could die too. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because
Right.
it's not happening to them yet. But I wanted to ask you, in those 35 years of marriage with your husband, like it was a great marriage or a good marriage, right? Compared to
Yes,
what
so
you've been
good. Well, you can imagine
through.
if you ever went through 35 years of anything, it's one or the other thing. But the thing is,
Yeah.
we always talked about whatever went on. We made a commitment to each other.
Wow.
We made a commitment to God. No matter what, we decided we want to break generational curses. We want to have generational wealth. We want to do things that other people in our families may not have done. But his mother and father was married for 53 years.
Wow.
So we made a commitment to one another. Divorce was not an option.
Mm-hmm.
We may have said it one time, but we decided after that we would never say divorce again. So we went through good and bad times, but I would do it all over again.
Mm.
The last 7 years of his life, he was sick. He had multiple myeloma cancer.
Oh, wow.
And it was a rare disease. They gave him 11 months to live, but he lived for 7 years. He lived for 7 years because we became a student of his disease. We
Mm.
studied every part. As a matter of fact, sometimes we were telling the doctors what to do. That's how much we studied it. And we changed our whole lifestyle. We stopped eating beef. We stopped eating pork. We didn't use any chemicals in our house and no
Mm.
candles. We did everything natural. We had natural and holistic medicine until he started chemotherapy. So by the time he started chemotherapy, we had built his immune system up so good that until he died 7 years later, he lost weight, but he lost weight and was just a few pounds less than what he started with. But he lived life on his terms and he left Earth on his terms.
Wow. And what did he do as a career?
He he worked in the parks department in Houston. He started out in the post office, but he works in the parks department because he loved children.
Wow.
And he was a recreation supervisor. And we actually were going to open up our own recreation center, like Boys and Girls Club.
Mm-hmm.
And he was brilliant. He had inventions and patent pendings and everything when he
Wow.
died. But for years, I thought that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And I realized that was his dream. He was the visionary and I was the go-getter. But I realized that was not my dream. And when that vision board came off the wall, I realized that's what I'm supposed to do. And I had gotten several different things off of the vision board. I became a best-selling author, and that was in the middle of that vision board. And I said I wanted to travel. That was at the top, and that's what I do all the time now. And I love it. And I love it.
Wow.
So yeah, he had a daughter
Mhm.
and I had a son. They were 6 months apart, and then we had a son together.
Wow. What do your kids have to say about your story, or your son, actually, your biological son, from the time when you were abused?
Well, I told him at a younger age because he didn't grow up around his father.
Mm-hmm.
He and my husband were, if you didn't know, you would think they were father and son.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him because he had questions. And when he asked questions, I answered it. He ended up going to live with him for a while, so he got to know him.
Mm.
But he felt bad about it, but he was thankful that we were both alive. And then I have a younger son. I have two sons, a stepdaughter, 5 grandchildren, and
Wow.
1 great grandson.
Wow. You're living a full life.
Living it like it's golden.
So do you feel like you would want to, bring to life something like what your, husband wanted for Boys and Girls Club, like something for children? Do you feel like the Queendom Journey would do something regarding that? Or that's
Well,
not your dream?
Right now, I'm concentrating on women, but my vision for the Queendom Journey is helping women find themselves, their true selves. But it's not me that's going to do all this. I'm working with different women in different industries to teach these women different skill sets,
Wow.
things that I'm not skilled in. So if there's a doctor or a lawyer or a musician that can come in and help them learn those skills, I'm doing collaborations
I
with
love that.
other businesses. It'll help the women in the Queendom Journey. It's an academy, and we'll have rites of passages where they go through different stages, and at each stage they get something. And when they graduate, they have their own Queendom Journey.
Oh, wow.
But
I like
it's a collaboration.
I like that. So is that a program or is that like a coaching mentorship?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it'll be a coaching and mentorship. I have a free 5 day challenge right now, and then a small mini course, and then we'll have other courses to follow after that. I've already started collaborating with some other business owners
Mm-hmm.
in their expertise.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I love all that you're doing. What is your big dream for Queendom Journey, the Queendom Journey?
Well, as my vision board says, my goal is to help at least 100 women.
Or more. I feel like you go way beyond that.
Yes, at least. Well, see, it says it's been 10 years, 100 women making a beautiful difference in thousands of lives. My goal is to initially help at least 100 women, and the sky's the limit after that because everyone will help everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to help people reclaim their power and walk into their greatness and earn economic success.
Mm.
And I have a vision of at least helping 100 women earn $1 million.
Wow.
7 figures, 7 figures. Not at least 7 figures. I won't say $1 million. I'll say 7 figures. And I'm one of those people. I'm still working on it. But
Yeah.
I went ziplining because I had to face my fears. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I had to learn how to encourage myself because I couldn't keep encouraging others and be fearful myself. So I faced my fears so I could help others face theirs.
Wow. You're living it.
I have a free 30-minute consultation. Well, I'll say 30-minute discovery call. So we
Mm.
can discover each other and then we'll know where their journey is and help them start their journey. So they can go to thequeendomjourney.com, do a free 30-minute discovery call, and then we can move on from there.
Yay. Would you like to share anything else? It was so great having you on today.
Um, I did this poem, and that's what made me come up with the word Queendom Journey. I was going to do a business called Seasoned Woman of Purpose, but I realized that's who I've become, a seasoned woman of purpose. But it's the business is called Queendom Journey because I made a poem up called Queendom. And I want to just share that with you. It's we're encouragers and nurturers, among other things. Goal getting sisters. You know what I mean? Nifty 50, below and above. A shoulder to lean on will give you much love. But don't get it twisted. Our families will defend. We're determined and on purpose. On us, you can depend. We'll bend, but our motto is you'll never get the best of me. Instinct plus purpose together leads to destiny. Goal getting sisters. Go build your queendom, girl.
Wow.
Change yourself first, then go change the world.
You wrote that?
Yes, ma'am. And
Wow.
11 other poems, and I didn't find out I was a poet till the pandemic hit.
See, the pandemic is a blessing because it
Yes.
gets everyone to know themselves. I still have a question that's unanswered from earlier when I was asking you about your husband and the 35 years. What I wanted to ask you was, I know you said you didn't deal with the past traumas until after his death when it hit you because of that experience with that girl. But during that time, I know you shared that you and your husband shared everything. And so he did know your past, but did it ever occur to you that, like, hey, I didn't deal with those past traumas, or you thought because you got married, had a nice life, that now you've moved on? Like, was that your thinking that it's
That was
not
my,
going to come back
I
again?
suppressed it. I
Yeah.
told him about it. He told me about his demons, and I didn't want to deal with it because, if I dealt with it, then I have to tell the world about it. And in our communities, our family said, what happens in this family stays in this family. And because of that, we deal with rape, abuse, molestation, um, alcoholism, drugs, incest. We have so many things, so many issues that we have because the family don't want to deal with it. But I said, after he died, I had to deal with it, and I had to free me because I couldn't help anybody else until I helped myself. And I prayed and asked God to use me, and he started using me by doing this. And he let me know all those things, all those experiences. I was preparing you for this moment. But the problem was, you didn't have faith. You thought it was all you. And until I became faithful enough in him that he had me, he couldn't use me. And he's using me today because I know he got my back. He saved me in 1987. I'm going to tell you this, 1987, when me and my 5-year-old son was on an airplane coming back to Houston. It's a long story, so I'm not going to all that, but I'll tell you. They told me and him to get off of a continental airplane and get on a Northwest Airlines 255. Everybody from Houston. I refused because we had been there almost 13 hours. I'm not going anywhere until we get off this plane in Houston. That plane took off and it crashed on takeoff into an overpass and killed everybody on that plane except a 4-year-old girl. That caused a lot of fears for me. But what I realized today was my father taught me survival skills. Not only my biological father, but the Almighty God Father taught me survival skills. And that was the beginning to show me that he had me covered.
So you remained on the plane that you were on already for 13 hours, right? So it's like you had boundaries. You didn't allow someone to overpower your own thinking, that, because if you would have went on that other plane, that could have been it.
That could have been it. We didn't stay on the plane the whole 13 hours. We was on and off. I was in that airport for 13 hours and I would not get off that plane. That was God planting me like a tree in that seat and not allowing me to move.
Wow. Wow. And where did that event take place? The crash?
Detroit, Michigan.
Wow.
And so I realized he has saved my life and worked miracles in my life so many times. And it wasn't until I recognized those miracles that he was ready to use me.
That's why you're still alive.
Yes.
And I wanted to say, it makes me think of that 4-year-old girl on that plane. What is she going to become in life? What is she going to do with that story?
I saw an article for the first time in 2017. I wouldn't even look it up, but something happened and made me look it up. And I led a small group of women because it was on the title of the group was Undaunted. It was about human trafficking. And so I looked that up and I saw the picture of the records. I saw the 4-year-old girl. Then it showed the picture of her in 2017. I don't know what she did, but she was still alive and she finally was talking about it.
Wow. Look at that.
Yes.
Wow. It's great to have you on here today.
It's great being here.
I like your spirit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. So for the Queendom Journey, is it ready now? Or you're still working on collaboration?
No. The Queendom Journey is ready. I'm always working on collaborations, but they can start with the 30-minute discovery call. And then we go to the challenge and the mini course and keep going from there.
Wow. And may I ask you, how old are you?
I am 66 years old.
No way.
And I don't mind telling you because I know I don't look it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Like my mom's 63, 64, and you're older than my mom. It's like, wow.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and I don't mind telling it because I'm so grateful that God saw fit to allow me to make it here.
That's right. Most people don't even live like as long. Not everyone makes it to older, older years. So, how old am I? Do you know?
No, I don't. But here's what I do know, Pratiba.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years, I've lost 17 people that were close to me,
Oh, wow.
family and friends. And with each death, it makes it more apparent to do what we can today because tomorrow is not promised to anyone.
That's right.
And I refuse to take my gifts and talents to my grave. Like Steve Bloom says, God's gift to us is more gifts and talents than we could use in a lifetime. And our gift to him is to use as many of those gifts and talents before we leave this earth. And that's my goal.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The first thing I say every morning subconsciously when I first wake up, before I even open my eyes, is thank you, God, for, another day. Like, it's a great day. That's the first thing I say in my subconscious. Actually, it's a great day, to be alive. And I wake up with that positive thinking and I say it or I mumble it, as I'm physically going, like waking up, going to the restroom, like I'm alive today. Like, that's a big deal. Most people don't make it.
It is.
I feel like once you realize that value and I like fold my hands, like, thank you, God, like just any time throughout the day, like before I have a meal, there was a time where I didn't have food, and, like when I was on my own and I didn't have a meal to eat I think of those kids, the world hunger and everything that God's chosen me to have this food today, So I think once we realize the value of what we have and others don't, that's when your life can become more meaningful.
We started out talking about our boomerang, and I want to bring that back up because our boomerang does something with our customers. When we get customers, we feed a hungry child every time one of our customers activate a free website, and that is precious to me because of the things that happened to me as a child. That we actually can change the trajectory of those children's lives because someone cared about them. And that's what our boomerang means. We give our goodwill and goodwill come back to us.
I like that. And it's that other organizations and companies also have that as well, but it's one that suits with you and your values, like your ethical values. Many companies do donations and stuff, but it's like, okay, is it diverse? Is it aligned with, like my people, my kind of people? That's really what it comes down to. One thing I want to share before we go is yesterday I discovered this film called Mully. Do you know about it? Mully? I'm going to share it with you. It's free on YouTube. I watched it on Amazon, but when I discovered this film yesterday, I felt like that was God showing me this film because I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you're really going to enjoy it. It's going to blow you away that you believe in God. So God instilled this dream in this man, and he really made this big dream come to life, and no people called him crazy. Nobody understood why, but God led him. They tell you, like, show you in the movie through each step. It's a real human being. He's still alive, a real story. And it's like a spirit, something was, overpowering him, whether people understand or not, but he made all this happen. He said it wasn't him. It was something that was instilled within him. So it made me think, like, for Chai Together, it just made me think, like, I'm like, God hasn't been showing me any like physical visions. Like, you know what I mean? Like something coming to me. It's like my visuals. I'm like, that's interesting for the people who are blessed in that way that, are here for that reason. I think it's very rare and very lucky,
Well, make every experience a learning experience. And when you do that, you find something in everything that happens.
Yeah. I want everyone to watch that movie. I just shared it in the community group too, because I will watch it again and again. Like, it's just like, wow. But thank you so much for being on here today. I appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me